I'm Marin, and this is Post-its and Pens. Hello, and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Marin, and here you will find a little beauty, a little books, and a little teaching content. So if that sounds like something you might enjoy, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around and join me in my little corner of YouTube. In today's video, I am going to do my September TBR featuring BECCA'S Bookopoly. So I will be participating in the Bookoplathon for the month of September, so I am going to be using her board to choose my TBR. I am changing a couple things up. So per the usual, I will be using two 6-sided die. I actually took these from my math stuff at school, And I have a little mover to move around the board. But instead of using community shelf cards or chance cards, I will be using my own TBR method. So what I typically use to choose my books. So if I land on a chance space, I will be using my TBR jar and drawing a title from there. And if I should land on a community shelf space, I will be using my wheel of prompts, which I will input right here, to pick a book using a prompt. So that way I'm still kind of going in the same vein as BECCA'S game usually goes, but I'm making sure to input my own little footprint on it, if you will, and use my existing TBR games to choose my books. So let's go ahead and get into the game, shall we? Okay, so here is the board right here. Now, as I mentioned, I will not be using actual chance cards or community shelf cards. So if I happen to land on the chance space, I will be drawing a book from my TBR jar. And if I land on community shelf, I will be using my wheel of prompts to determine what book I'm going to read. So here we go. Here is roll number 1. Okay, that is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is a buzzword space that has to do with a name of some kind. So let me see what I'm going to pick out. Okay, so for roll number 1, I landed on the buzzword space that had to do with names. And so for this one, I am going to continue my reading of the Graceling series, and I am going to read Bitter Blue. So I have really enjoyed the first 2 books in the series. Graceling was a reread. Fire was new. I loved Fire. That one was my favorite so far. So I am curious to see what I will think about Bitter Blue, as I know this one didn't get as high of rating as the previous 2. It's also quite a chunky book. I will be listening to this mostly on audio, so I am excited to continue that series, and that will be pick number 1 for the Bookoplathon. Okay, and here is roll number 2. Okay, and that is 6. 6. Okay, 6. This is the hyped space, so let me take a look. Okay, roll number 2 landed me on a hyped book. So for this one, I am choosing a book that I have personally hyped up, one that is on my 21 books to read in 2021 list, which I'll link up in the cards. And that book is All the Rage by Courtney Summers. So this one has been on my radar since it was released, and I've just never gotten a chance to read it. I am very curious to see what I will think. And yeah, excited to cross it off of my list of books that I wanted to try to read this year. Okay, roll number 3. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one is BECCA Rec. So let me see what I can do for that. Okay, so roll number 3 landed me on a Becca rec. So for this one, I had to go back through some of her videos to try to find something that matched my own tastes, because she and I have very different reading taste. She really loves high and epic fantasy. That is not really my thing. So I finally found a book on her best books of 2020 list, which I'll link down below in the description box if you would like to watch it. And that book is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. SCHWAB. This one has been on my radar for a while. I am very excited to see what I think about it. I think it's another one of those that has very split opinions, so I will be curious to see where I land. But yep, that will be book number 3 for Bookoplathon. All right, roll number 4. Is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is another buzzword prompt. This one has to do with time of day. So let me see what I can find. Okay, roll number 4 landed me on another buzzword space. This one had to do with time of day. And for this one, I am going to be reading The Midnight Lie by Marie Rutkowski, midnight being a time of day. So I really loved the Winners trilogy from Marie Rutkowski, so I'm curious to see what I think about this one. I have been eyeing it for a while, and I am happy to squeeze it onto this list. Okay, and assuming I do not roll a double, this should be the last one. Roll number 5. Oh, that one fell off the table. Let's try that again. All right, and we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the last letter of the previous book needs to match the first letter of the next book. So let me see what I can do for that. And roll number 5, and the final roll, because I did not have any doubles, so Bookopoly was very kind to me, so thank you very much. I guess it knew that I was super busy. But for this one, I landed on the space where the last letter of the previous book needs to match the first letter of the next book. So the previous book that I had chosen was The Midnight Lie, which means I needed a book that started with E. And because I am super busy with work and honestly having just gone through the longest first week of school ever, I am not really sure what September will look like, so I'm trying to be nice to myself. So I went ahead and settled on a very short book, which is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. So I've heard really good things about this series. I'm curious to see what I will think, and I've gone ahead and put the first book on this list. So those were the 5 books that I chose for Bookoplathon. Again, the board was very nice to me. I really appreciate that. However, I am also going to be attempting to participate in the Magical Readathon hosted by G at Book Roast. Now, I am doing it as easy as possible. So she said we only needed to really read 2 books to make it to the next round of the readathon, if you will. There are some other things like the character choices that I will need to have done and completed prior to April of 2022, so that gives me quite a bit of time. So I am only going to be doing 2 books for the Magical Readathon. I have the prompts written down over here, so sorry, I have to read off of them. And the ones that I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to do the Novice Path Entrance, which was a book with a map. And the book that I am choosing for this is another book off of my 21 books to read in 2021, and that is Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. So that will be the first book for the Magical Readathon. And then another one that I'm going to go ahead and complete was the Tower of Rumination, which was a 5-star prediction. And for that, I am going to double up with a prompt from Bookopoly, which is All the Rage by Courtney Summers. That is one that I think I will really love and give 5 stars. So those will be the 2 books that I'm going to read for the Magical Readathon. And then we will just see how I get on with the character ones later on. So I will let you know in future TBR videos where I am with that. Okay, I do have 2 other books that I am going to be adding on to this TBR I am going to do my best to listen to most of these on audiobook. That's just the easiest for me right now when I'm back at work. But the first one that I'm going to be reading is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora. That's another one off my 21 books to read in 2021 list. And then the last book that I am going to need to try to read this month is All's Well by Mona Awad. That is the pick for September for the Literally Dead book club. So I'm trying to keep up with those and read them as I'm supposed to. I actually have that one coming up pretty quickly from my library. I have like 2 more people in front of me on the hold list. So that one might be the first book that I read this month. It won't count towards Bookoplathon, but it is something that I want to get read all the same. And those are the 7 books that I will be reading in the month of September. As always, I will try to vlog some of that, particularly the Bookoplathon books. I figure I can do a couple of vlogs following my progress on that, so stay tuned. And as always, I will let you know my full thoughts on each of the books that I finish in September when I do my wrap up for that month, which will be coming probably in early October. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more from me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.